very, very interesting matchup. But of course, FNATIC have never played against Gambit before, but Durka has.
Yeah.
So in a way, he's a little bit of a secret weapon here on this map. Now, everyone on Gambit has locked their agents in, and Lothar, we've seen them play this composition a couple times, and they look very promising here.
Absolutely fantastic performance on attack, by the way. If I'm not mistaken, it's Icebox 63% attack round performance, while on defense is only 46. But remember, this map is a little bit attack based in general. But they are scary on this attack, and it's hard. Something that we mentioned in the pre-show and then Ryan mentioned right now, shutting down Durka or shutting down Defo is actually a problem on such an open map. Like, you can't really predict what the Jet exactly will do because there are no set plays. There's so much space open for them to improvise and just adapt to the situation. So it's not easy to counter the Jet player unless you have a lot of flashes. And as you can see, neither of those teams are actually playing them.
Yeah, no, they're not. I guess opting for the Sova there kind of makes sense when it comes to how you want to also play into an operator Jet. But Ryan, of course, two very, very similar team compositions, and usually the only difference is Nats on that Cypher and Magnum on that Killjoy.
Yeah, I like the sort of battle of, I keep saying battles, like Sentinels of Killjoy versus Cypher. Nats, you expect the Cypher play. I'm sure Tombiz, the fellow Baldy, is going to fawn over his like setups on the deep
pieces of his utility on this map. So it's going to be a banger, but we're going to be getting into map number 1 of hopefully a 3-map thriller.
Yeah, I'll set the expectation for Redgar pretty high as well from what we saw the other day. He was huge in a lot of their games so far in the run through VCT, and now it comes down to this series to fight off for their spot in Iceland. And Durka, well, he's winning the duel of the duelists. As the first Jet to fall is going to be Defo. Man advantage for FNATIC, and they haven't given very much away.
Yeah, if anybody's going to have looked into Durka, by the way, it would definitely be Gambit after what he did to them when he played previously within the CIS qualifier. So they should know this map. Magnum has managed to lurk his way quite far forward into B. Now, the rest of the team are still going to be just waiting outside A, see how much he could potentially get done. Maybe sell this as a bit of a fake and try and force some rotations. But as of right now, Gambit aren't really playing in that sort of style. They're not pulling players over just yet. But with the drone suddenly coming through, just watch Magnum. He's already making that play in behind.
Of course he is. Likes to go for the sneaky plays.
They're going back.
And they've got control over the site completely. He's even making his way into Hall. So, of course, FNATIC going to rotate over. They've got a free plant over on that site while Durka just distracts. Just a little more than that, actually. He's already got 3 kills, and sure, he'll be killed eventually, but he's done more than he needed to in keeping them in position. The B-side plant is underway. They've used a wall, but they didn't need to because there's barely anyone to fight off against. A 4v2 as Gambit want to go in for the retake. And they're being heard. I think both of them have been heard at this point, moving down through middle. All the info to play with for FNATIC, all the time, the post plans. I mean, this is going to be a pretty hard one. Even look, they're sneaking in through kitchen, and the turret's spawned.
Yeah, it seems like FNATIC have thought of everything in this round, and the amount of time that's just being wasted here alone. Boaster's already come up on the flank again. If the first one wasn't bad enough, this can only make it work. He's hearing every single sound, but they have left something behind to catch him. But the thing is, there's barely any time left. They need to be on the spike roundabout now. Instead, they're still trying to fight the players in from behind. FNATIC are playing with their food, and while Nats, I guess he could try and do a little bit of extra damage. Maybe just die to the spike. That's all he's really hoped for here.
I think he was even trying to sneak up behind them, like get through the spike a little bit. But it came out a bit too far. You know, I love that as well. You say they leave something behind. I have to ask you, Tom. Trip or trap wire? What are you going for?
I always say trip, but the name of it is trap.
Oh, I know what it's technically called, but it's a tripwire, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's a tripwire. It's there to catch you. It's there to trip you up. Like,
there you go.
I don't know. Technically, you do get trapped in it, though, so I'm kind of indifferent. I'll be honest with you.
I see. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Yeah, it could trip you, but it could trap you, too. Who knows? You know, the debate will go on forever. But it's tripwire. As we move in towards the B site, Gambit gonna be on their way, it's fair to say. Bit of a sea of whatever color you want to call that. I call it green. I've heard people call it blue. They're colorblind. They're moving in towards the B side is the important thing. There's 5 players here. They've got pistols, so they're throwing themselves at these guys, trying to deal damage in any way that they can. The first was a leap above the ice wall that quickly ended in Nat's death. And, well, for now, actually, they have successfully stopped the plant. It's going to take a little while. The Sage Wall will be out of play. There's potential for damage to be done here by Gambit.
I quite like that they don't overplay things, though. I think a lot of teams will take a huge risk when it comes to these plant situations, not knowing where a lot of the players are. Mystic is just going to play within the smoke. And sure, they have lost one player along the way, but if they can keep this down to just a single man loss, that's absolutely fine for FNATIC. Of course, on the other side of things, Defo trying to do as much damage as humanly possible, but this time it won't be the case. Now, you've mentioned a few players here and there. I think especially going on to the defense side is where you do see a lot of the sort of snazzier, more interesting things coming out from Gambit. A lot of the time we talk about snake bites and how they're used in afterplants. In fact, you even got to see one there landing down to try and deny things. But I've always quite liked the way that Redgar actually plays his slightly more aggressively on the defense. Try and make some of the positions that players are going to want to boost up into a lot more awkward to try and face off in early in the round. So we'll see if he can maybe catch out a few players here. Of course, this is the bonus round. This is where, realistically, we're not expecting a massive amount from FNATIC, but they do still have a rifle on Durka, and that alone is enough to scare a fair few teams.
You know, I think it's kind of funny, the point about Redgar, because Mystic, he does the same, right? He'll play like, you think about Bind, right side, he'll activate up those snake bites and deal serious damage. Those cages about to go down. That's where the wall comes into play, and Durka's caught out of position, but the trades are there. This is a bonus round. This is weaker weapons for FNATIC, and they're in a 4 versus 2. Gambit are going to try to recover this, but they don't know about Magnum, who's just sneaking up behind them again. This guy's flying so far has been very annoying to deal with, and got them around on the B plant, and now pretty much securing this one, taking down Defo and leaving Shados to do it all. And he's even spotted now, moving back. They know that he's in heaven. They know they've got a little bit of space to maneuver with. Not quite that much space, Doma, but all right, I like it.
Enemy down.
Don't know how he's getting away with that one. It's like a 20 bullet spray, but hey, you got there.
Yeah, that's more what I'm expecting from Shados. Like, you don't normally get away with that much when this man's on the other side. Probably one of the most clinical players you're ever going to see in Valorant, so maybe a little bit of a slower start for Gambit, and this is something they really can't afford. And in fact, they actually do lose the weapon right at the end of the round. Boaster going on a full rotation just to catch him out right at the end, so it does mean that this is going to end up as another round where there's not really much invested here. But yeah, as you already mentioned, like, I think Magnum's flanks have already become something that is going to start getting in the back of the heads of the Gambit players. Like, even if he is just going all in with the rest of his team now, they're going to have that little ick at the back of their head, that little scratch, that itch that just won't go away, that maybe he could still be behind them.
Yeah, I think it's there's a very sad story there in how we saw Shados playing that out, because I loved it. The spike exploded and he knew exactly where it was planted. He's got that radius inside his brain, so he like didn't even look. Like, cool guys don't look at explosions, right? And this is a bit of an awkward start. Durka popped his ult, he took a fight. You know, I'm not too worried because it's pistols, it's whatever. Then he updrafts again. He wants to continue getting aggressive. That wall leaves a gap for Doma to move on through. Usually you'll see that against rifles. He does it versus the pistols. It's a risk. But hey, it's paying off right now, as they have only one enemy left to deal with. And if they just lose one rifle here, it's not the end of the world. Or just one player, rather.
Magnum's flank is there once more, just to make sure that there's no real escape from Chronicle. I do have to say that the fact that Doma has gone in a few weeks from basically being the star player, the person that everybody's sort of looking to set up, to even on some maps playing as the controller and being an Omen, that was a bit of a surprise for me. We'll see if that maybe comes in a little bit later on, as we were looking at that Ascent matchup. But yeah, 4-0. Now I want to see a turnaround. Defo onto that operator. This is where he's going to start almost dominating certain portions of the map. It's why we're seeing a rotation of Viper now to play onto that B site. As said, he has a lot of deep utility that he'll throw down to try and deny early B presence, but he can now afford to do that because of the positioning of that Jet Op, basically manning the whole of A. You can see how deep his vision currently goes. The switch up though from FNATIC is to try and take further control into the kitchen. Shados is however ready, but he doesn't find the shots.
Oh, even the spray through the wall's a bit dangerous. Redgar was distracted, but the flank doesn't pay dividends this time. Nats on the double, but won't get away with his life. This is still winnable for FNATIC, but Gambit is certainly showing up. The spike on its way is under threat. Players can swing out of the window. And of course, you're seeing Redgar tucked in on short. This is a tough position to play from, and the drone going to spot him out. That could spell danger for FNATIC. Oh, he makes it over to the side. Okay. Mine can be found. Oh, never mind. Chronicles wallbanged him to death. Oh, well, that's just sad. The snake bite is damaging him. I'm going to say a 1v2 that's, you know, in a way easy enough, but yeah, it's...
How is he
still alive, man? Snake bites, off shots, wall bangs, Boaster. He gets it onto Redgar. Now, he was low HP, but it's still the operator now swapped over to a rifle. Defo knows that his opponent is tagged up, but so is he. The HP just about even when you take Vandals into consideration. And the spike now planted. Hunter's Fury to be popped. He's searching for a victim, trying to find Defo or bait him into a fight, but Defo doesn't move. The recon out for the left side. Defo needs to swing. This is so awkward, but Boaster gets away with it in the end. A 3K in a round that FNATIC were looking down and out of for a moment. Somehow, Boaster pulls off the impossible.
He was playing that round almost like a sort of like a jester trying to impress a king. Like, he was stood out in the open, dancing for his opponent, and I don't know how he survived. Like, did they shoot through his legs? Was he, like, curving out of the way of the bullets? Like, that made no sense, and I think Gambit are going to be absolutely kicking themselves there. That was their round. They shut down the early pushes. They do very well with catching off the rotations through kitchen, even adapting to get players into the right place to make sure that there's not really any presence. They deny the initial spike plant as well, with some strong positioning from Redgar, and then they just lose. It's a sloppy 1v2. That's all I can call that. I don't want to be sort of talking of this team that we almost sing so many praises about. They beat FPX just a day ago, but that was sloppy. And Boaster, sure, he did fantastically well to be able to win a couple of 1v1s versus the two remaining players, but I think even he's probably going to have a bit of a grin after winning that round.
Oh, most definitely. Considering as well, like, even the Hunter's Fury pop, I thought could be huge, right? It would make it worthwhile, the players that Gambit had lost, if it ended up getting taken out of the play, but
take flight.
Ending up winning that clutch 5-0 behind, Gambit are going to feel the need to really make something happen. And Redgar, well, he starts it out well. We saw Durka previously push up aggressively on A with his knives in hand, and this time, well, he's going to be rezzed up. And on the other side, the knives don't land. Okay, back to a 4 versus 4. Versus Sheriffs, it's not really where you want to be, especially if you're popping up reses as well. But Magnum, guess where he is? Have a guess.
He's past it. He's past the cam. They had that placed in mid to almost catch him, but he's walked around. He's heard the cam behind him. This could actually act as a bit of a trap. Rotating through will be Redgar, but even still, Magnum again. He's been in the same place almost every single round, and still Gambit are being caught by one of the new men on the block. Shado's not in the worst of positions, but sectioned off by the wall. And just look at his current direction. He's peeking behind him. He is waiting. This cam attempted to be used, and that finally gets rid of Magnum. But I wonder if it's too little too late.
Oh, we'll see with that ult. They at least get the information to play off of Tom. It's not ideal with Nats' HP being as low as it is, so the heal is popped through. The wall to be broken buys them a little bit more time, and there's Boaster's shot. Now Nats probably just saves this. Ooh, he might go for it after that kill. That's potential certainly there, but they're just going to group up and play this one together. Maybe. No, Boaster goes just running out for a kill. All right, it works. 6-0. And an interesting point, Tom. 3 rounds so far. Magnum's come up on the flank mid. 1, he went B. This guy is behind them more often than he's in front of them.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit ridiculous. Like, they've even started putting a cam down in mid to try and catch him, but he saw it placed. And rather than breaking the cam, he just walks past it, just goes through. Like, what's the chance of him popping it within the next second? It's worth it for the potential flank that he gets onto his opposition. And sure, again, it's a round of pistols, so I don't want to talk too much about it in terms of Gambit, but they're starting to get into dangerous territory. They have a strong attack side. We heard Lothar bringing up the stats that I think both of these teams are going to be more prominent when it comes to their attack, but it's 6-0 already. We need to see a response from Gambit.
We do. We do indeed. And at least with the ult down to cover the B site, that should be a little bit of safety for them. to play around. They have still got a second player on B. Obviously, he's just covering for the walk under. They have a tripwire, and this is something I mentioned a lot, the fact that I love Cypher on this map to cover out inside of Tube. It's not like a wall that lasts 40 seconds. They can actually cover it the entire round unless players go there to take control. Speaking of taking control, well, that wall's kind of stopped what Durka wanted to do, but maybe it's for the better. Up above, it's going to be players pushing through, but just getting torn apart. And with Shados and Redgar left alone to try and make this happen, and a very late flank from Redgar, the chances are looking very, very slim. A shame having popped your Viper's Pit. You don't expect them to come towards you, but you also don't expect your A site to fall quite as quickly as it did.
I really like the variation. We'll talk about it in a moment as this is still being attempted, but Doma is just not missing a beat. It's always good when your Sage is fragging out that Rez is going to be built up faster and faster, and Redgar, this has turned into just maybe trying to earn that ultimate back a little bit, get an extra kill or two to put those ult points on the table, but again, 7-0, and the variation there from FNATIC was superb. Okay, we've been given mid-control a lot in the form of Magnum. He's been able to lurk through there the majority of the time. Maybe they're expecting one man, but they're definitely not expecting the whole crew to just go running straight down, and it means that any adaptations, any changes that Gambit came up with in this round were completely negated by FNATIC because they just ran straight down mid.
I think that's very much based around the space that Magnum's been finding, right? That read that, okay, there's going to be a lot of players, or there's going to be a lack of presence around the mid area based on what he'd seen in 3 out of 6 rounds so far. Albeit, I think 2 of those are versus pistols, Tom, if I'm not incorrect. So on a buy round, it could be a little bit different, but hey, it definitely pays off here and works out. When you look at Gambit, it's not the end of the line. Certainly, on the attack side, they can make up for the slack that they've given, but I want to see them up on 4 rounds. I mean, the way things are going, doesn't look incredibly likely.
Well, yeah, I'm not one to normally mention stats, but when you have a jet operator player who's currently going James Bond, that's a big problem. Defo is yet to get on the scoreboard at all. So, and in this round, it's even worse because he's down to a Spectre, and well, he doesn't have anywhere near enough for the Bladestorm. Like, he's not even close. He would have to kill everybody just to get it in the first place. So it is just going to be him playing on that weapon in this round again. Much more of an all-in play, and this is what I meant. Like, they have been so ready for Magnum to be on the flank, but this time, with his lockdown being in play, he's going to be involved in a full-on take into the A side.
And like the poison orb to stop the peek up on Catwalk, but that poison's not going to last all too much longer. Redgar falls right away. The shock darts of Boaster making Jonas jealous. As Durka takes down Nats, it's not looking too good for Gambit. They need to turn up here, man, but there's just nothing they can do. Then the orb comes in. Shados is 50 HP before he even gets near the edge of it, and Durka ensures he doesn't get out. Defo, the man who has the weaker weapon we talked about, you said he needed to kill everybody to have that ult online. Well, he needs to kill everybody to win the round now. Never mind his ultimate. And he's about to be pushed from kitchen. Good night and sweet dreams. FNATIC 8-0 on the board with a flawless round as well. It's just getting worse for Gambit as time goes on, it seems.
I'm blown away. Like, both the series we've had today were not meant to be like this. This is 8-0. I was getting ready for a close series, back and forth, like both teams fighting tooth and nail. It's 8-0 to FNATIC, and this round they had Magnum with them so that he could lock down for them to take the site. Durka walks in, kills 3 people. He goes, what's the point?
Yeah, we don't need to.
Why would I even waste this ult now? Like, why have I come with you? I might as well be on the other side. They're doing it again because he's still got the lockdown.
I mean, it works, right? Not only do they have lockdown, they also have Viper's Pit to put up on top of the side afterwards. Like, there's so much to play with here for FNATIC that they're, like, not getting to use. They've just walked into the A site for free. The flank being watched now. This is where Magnum has got a pretty big task. There's a couple of big weapons. They're not Magnums, but they are Sheriffs coming his way. He's able to take a double before backing away. 57 HP on the board. I mean, he's definitely in danger. So is Durka falling. This could fall apart very, very quickly indeed. That shock dart does some damage, but Magnum, I think it was a teammate's shock dart? Is that Boaster? Okay, hold on. What the hell's going on? Mystic and Magnum are both down. 2v2. Spike ticking away. The time is not really on their side, though, because they've still got plenty to play with. And with Doma being all alone, a cage above. Oh, the ult that ruins it for him. He has to take a fight. And a big whiff leads to Gambit getting one on the board at last. And in quite an unlikely round as well.
How is this the round they win?
Good question.
Like, I appreciate that the 4-man stack, maybe even reading into the fact that, okay, they went 5A last round because they still had the lockdown, so they went, okay, well, maybe they'll do the same again. But it's this. Like, Magnum, I think, kills 3 of the flanking players. So that means that Nats almost solely managed to retake the site. That shouldn't happen for FNATIC. So, yeah, we'll sing the praises, but that is a round that Gambit should never have had a chance in, and it came down to the individual brilliance of one man. But they need to build off this now. That's a huge play. That's a risk taken and a reward given, but now they need to get something done with the rifles. They have that operator back in play. Defo yet to really have the impact we want to see from him, but I don't expect him to go missing for long. No matter how bad it might be for him right now, there will be a resurgence at some point.
I feel like every round Dirk is hungry and he needs to get kills like that. And if he doesn't, he'll just keep pushing. It's what we saw in the last round, right? Rushing into a sheriff and getting shot close range. 1v1 fights all over the place. Now, though, they're back. Oh, God, that's almost another kill for him. Redguard down to 26 HP. The knives popped, but no reward. No return for it, bar the damage. Nats, Redgar, Shados all low. But with Magnum falling, the chances of winning start to seriously decrease for FNATIC. They have got the B site for free, and they're walking around there, but they're so split, Tom. One player in each avenue of the map as Boaster will try to sell somewhat of a fake. He's been spotted, and that'll certainly cause a distraction. Mystic! Oh, the op gets to line up on him, leaving Doma alone. And, well, he has the spike, but 5 kills to get if he wants to win this round.
The first one will be for free. He's 2 away from the res, but I can't see that really playing much of a part here. Especially considering how far away the remaining players are. You'd have to wrap all the way back around. And you can see that the remaining players from Gambit are just playing this one together. Like, they are not taking any risks in this scenario. They are not giving this man a chance because Doma may not be in that duelist anymore, but he's still just as much of a threat. We're going to see the clearance of Kitchen. They know that he's going to have to try and get a little bit more aggressive here, but he already manages to find the second. Thankfully, Defo is there to put him down because any more of that, and he could have made it a reality. But even in this scenario alone, he's managed to earn his ult. That's a res for the next round alongside what is quite a lot of decent ultimates coming up for FNATIC.
Yeah, of course, we're only dealing with 2 rounds left to go, so it is unlikely that we see anything come of the damage done, especially when you've got the likes of a Jet and can pop up her ultimate. For Mystic, this did feel like a kill that he could have gotten, right? The timing of Nats coming around, just catching him off guard a little bit, and Nats was ready to clear the corner. As we come into 2 rounds remaining, FNATIC, they're in a good spot regardless of how this one goes down. For Gambit, they really need to push up to 4. They'll lose 1 more of these rounds. It becomes a seriously tough task to get back into this.
After what has been mostly rifling thus far, takes a couple of rounds being lost to now see the operator go into Durka's hands. Already looking to try and take some deep B control, where Nats is currently waiting patiently. The cam's been spotted, pre-fired, and no information going to be sent over in that regard at least. There is still a trip to try and hold them off on the plant potentially, but realistically this is already looking like a full-on retake.
Yeah, it definitely is. I like the early util usage as well from FNATIC over on A. It was the slows and the shock darts to try and keep those players in position. Now, that wall not going to break all too soon. It looks like they're safe to get that plant down and fall on back, but they have lost Mystic, and that's a huge part of not just their post plan for snake bites, but just the wall that those players would have to push through. Now gone, it's out of play. And with him falling yet again, Gambit have the advantage on this comeback, but they need to win the duels, and even that, it's not always easy.
Oh, we're gonna see. I think it's actually going to be destroyed. They've used the Hunter's Fury, but actually, it hasn't actually gone down. A little bit of a problem. Magnum, he's still trying to cling on to life. 2 kills already. A 3rd for Magnum. He's trying to take it on his own. And now Defo's been caught. He's going to be killed off. How have they lost this round, Mitch? Magnum with a 4K on the site, and they failed it, destroying the lockdown.
They missed it with the Hunter's Fury. They missed it. How did they miss it, Tom? How did they miss it? Oh, that's heartbreaking. It really and truly is. I think it was. Is it on top of the box? Did they put that on top of the box? I'm almost certain they did. And then the poison orb covered it. And I think it would have been Gambit's poison orb covered his teammates from being able to see the lockdown. That's... Yeah.
It's both
That's that.
brilliant and awful at the same time.
Devastating. You've got 2 rounds to the board. That was your chance. And they all pushed forward. They're like, yeah, I've got it. We're going to destroy it. Boom. You're dead. You're out of here. They need this round. They need it so damn badly if they want to have a chance. I said their attack side can be good, but it'll have to be damn near immaculate if they're to have anything to say about this map. And that's if they get a third.
Left Red Guard to be almost the solo defender of this B site. They do have Shados available to rotate in fairly quickly. The slows will give a chance for a rotation, but as is with the Viper's Pit, if you don't manage to kill off that Viper fairly quick, a lot of the time this will fall into an A site take. Now this is exactly what Gambit are expecting. 2 players deep within the site, defo one of them with this operator in hand, but they've actually started rotating a player back towards the kitchen, so this could actually work out quite nicely for FNATIC.
There's the drone. Should spot out Defo. He has his dash, so he's still going to take the fight, but not win it. Durka still falls from Chronicle's backside play, and as we look at FNATIC moving forward, they have a lot to work with in terms of util still, but they need to deal with that operator. Support comes in from Nats, blades out, and they're not even needed at this stage because Nats comes out with a huge triple. 9-3. FNATIC have had one hell of a first half, but Gambit, they got back in there towards the end of it. Honestly, they probably should have beaten 4 up on the board. If they win the pistol, it's not all done yet. If they lose it, I'm gonna lose faith pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement. Like, there's no doubt that Gambit are strong on this attack side. Like, they're a team that we've witnessed play this many times. They have a fantastic default to try and hold off any of these aggressive pushes. And I think as well, if you're going to try and get up in the face of someone like Nats, he normally has a lot of cameras to catch you doing it. So it definitely isn't over just yet. But at the same time, FNATIC not grinding out 4 rounds, I would be very surprised. So it's an uphill battle to be taken once again. Something we've been saying throughout the day, really, as it's been such dominant first halves from, well, mostly Liquid, but now FNATIC as well. It's going to be a fast play through into middle. And a little bit of utility to deny. Doma even just going to hide within the poison cloud. Only gets 1 for his troubles, but his teammates have had time to rotate in, Mitch.
Not only that, look at Magnum. He's on his way up behind. Yet again, if they're not expecting it, they haven't been watching the game so far. They haven't been paying attention. In fact, they hear him running down to mid. They're trying to pursue him, but that pulls them away from the site, leaving 1v1s to be played out. Down goes a Cloudburst to spam. Shados is gone. Shock darts, recons, everything Chronicle's got is being thrown at this round. But FNATIC will still come out on top and put double digits on the board as we start the second half. Gambit have got to be feeling deflated at this point. It's really now or never when it comes to if they force buy or if they indeed go for the save and then full buy. They have to do it then. If they don't, this map's already out of their hands.
Yeah, a lot of the time as well, when you're going for a force in these sort of situations, you've at least got like a few kills, and although it might sound silly, like that can make a difference financially to bring you up to a point where, okay, maybe you can get a bit of extra utility, maybe you can put something in that will guarantee you a plant. They are still going to be risking it though, and at this stage, I don't really blame them. They have the players that can bring this through. They've come in with a fair few Spectres as well. It's only really Nats that's a little bit further behind, and he's no slouch with the pistol. Straight away, Defo's going to be taking that early battle, but so far, it hasn't been his day. Like, there's been a lot more whiffs than we've seen shots connected from this man, and that is uncharacteristic as hell.
Gambit's sneaky little play up middle. They're taking a page out of Magnum's book. He did this a lot in the early half. We'll see if they get anything for it, because it looks like FNATIC are all too ready for it. But there we go. Magnum live by the sword, die by the sword. Gets beaten at his own game. Almost poetic, Tom.
Oh, see you later, Boaster as well. This is starting to look good for Gambit. Mystic trying to come back in on the flank. He's going to have heard the ice wall. Doma peeks in, but it's only going to be for 1. Spike has actually wandered in towards the A site as well. And now 2 players facing off against 3, but the weaponry's not even that much of an advantage now for FNATIC. Gambit have fought back in this round. They're going to be forced away from the spike at least, so the chances are FNATIC can work out this is clear, and already Durka is going to pick off another. He actually goes forcing himself into, I believe, his own teammate Snakebite, and Mystic, he's just going to be sticking this one to half. He's brought it to a possible scenario, but he needs to find both kills, and this time Defo is there to shut him out. An important force buy victory for Gambit that will keep them in this map.
They needed this one, as we said. You know, if they were going all in on it, it had to pay out, and that it does. 10-4. Gambit going to try to creep back on up, and I do love that early engagement onto Magnum as we come into this round. We're not going to see quite the same investment from FNATIC that we saw from Gambit, right? They're not going to commit nearly as much. And especially with the weaponry they're up against, you can see why. There's 3 heavy rifles with Spectres, whereas in the previous round, pistols versus Spectres is a much easier fight to win.
One down.
Oh dear. Dirk already gone. And it seems like Defo's starting to get into the mood. They'd maybe be just eco frags, but I think getting this man online is going to be so incredibly important. They haven't been able to clear Doma just yet. He does actually have his wall. He's going to try and go over the top of the screen. He's been caught in no man's land. I appreciate the attempt, but this time it's not going to work out.
One enemy remaining.
And you can see that this time they are ready, Mitch. They're prepared. You're not going to get in on the flank this time, Magnum. You've done it too much in this game.
Good Viper lineup like that, it's like fine wine, you know? You see that beautiful snake bite come down. Doesn't serve any purpose this time around, unfortunately. They did have a poison orb there as well. But no, clean enough from Gambit. They can afford to lose 1 player, maybe 2 in this round, especially because they've got the Spectres. The margin for error in the overall story of this half is not going to be quite as clean, and they have to be strong on the attack with such a weak first half under their belt and the pistol going to FNATIC. They're only at half the rounds. Whoa, that was a fight. That was nice. More like an execution, I suppose. FNATIC lose out on mid control, and it's going to be Mystic that moseys on over to try and reclaim some of that land, but he'll meander his way in towards the kitchen. He doesn't want to take that fight onto the Jet. Instead, he'll support Durka. Oh, the cage. If he was in it, it could be huge, but instead, caught outside of it. He'll wait a moment before coming in to provide that support. His teammate distracting them. Here's Mystic swing. No, he's actually waiting for Magnum. They're going to triple swing. Oh, Shados. He doesn't know what just hit him.
The fact is, though, they have spotted the majority of the players on the other side of the map, so the A site has been sounded as clear. All the Vipe utility, though, there to make things painful as they go through. Chronicle's caught in a Nano Swarm. Goes down to just 16 HP. The setups from FNATIC are just so filthy to try and head through. It will be an afterplant, and sure, some of that HP has been regained. Not quite in the dirt just yet, although every time he clips the wall, it becomes a little bit more problematic. This duel is not something I ever want to see again, as Durka rounds the corner, takes out his doppelganger, and they've already got the res in play as well, Mitch.
He's already 3 kills under his belt. Oh, Durka, there's a 4th. Could this be the ace? The dash in play. He wants to do it. You can feel it. Oh, but Mystic steals it away. But you'll forgive him considering what's on the line here. 11 rounds on the board. Plus, I have to be honest, I'm never going to be angry at Mystic. I can't.
Well, I was about to say, who could blame a Viper for being toxic, right?
That is very true, Tom. It's very true. That's one of the jokes, one of the only jokes you've ever made in my presence that I haven't wanted to die after hearing.
The day is young. It's a shame as well, because again, the round's starting off fairly well. Like, we're starting to see a little bit more of the flair from Defo that we've been looking for throughout this map. Like, he had an atrocious first half, but if he can get rolling, there's still a chance for their side. And once again, there will be a purchase. Now, sure, he doesn't have a weapon as such, but the Blade Storm will quell that problem quite quickly. You can also see how aggressive that FNATIC like to play towards this B site. They almost use Durka as an alternate to utility. Sure, they still have the screen down to at least shroud their vision, but look on the other side of things, and it is just that strong default again from Gambit. waiting patiently, watching for any aggression. Nats was posted in case anybody did try and push further down. And with the drone being seen, there's almost a few rotations being attempted to get back into that A site. But again, if you're Fnatic, you should know that Gambit are more than happy to wait until the late round.
And to really hammer it home at this late stage, this is Gambit's map pick. We know that they're a comfortable team here on Icebox and that they wanted to face off against Fnatic, but I do wonder as time goes on, do they start to question their decision? Well, if they lose this round, they probably will. So important to pull this off and get it up to 6 as Fnatic are holding down towards the A site with 3 players. They have their Killjoy utility in play. There's going to be a recon going out and getting destroyed. That gives away the fact that they're definitely moving towards this side of the map. Updraft from Defo doesn't really catch much, and Mystic shuts him down. There's 12 seconds left. Redgar making a big play, but that plant has to be obtained, and Mystic's going to go straight through the wall to his death. A 2v2. How quickly those tables can turn, and Gambit can end up in the advantageous position. The res, oh, it's not gonna, oh, it will get much. Never mind, because they just use it to bait out the duels and take those scalps. Gambit on 6. Quite an impressive round from them, really, the way they pulled that back.
I think, again, you have to give credit where credit is due. Shados and Nats just being able to bring things back, but it's the flank. It seems like both teams are having issues with it. This time it's actually Redgar, which fairly interesting considering the agent that he's currently playing on. You would normally expect that he'd be ready for those afterplants. He'd had all the utility to try and deny them, but instead he's the one actually looking to come around the back and, well, make that into a winnable round. Now 11-6. Gambit on the grind. The purchase up is definitely not ideal from Fnatic, but they're so close that if they can make this one work, then I don't think they're going to mind. Clearing all of the close positions with the drone, making sure there's no cheeky spots this time. And in fact, it looks like Fnatic are almost playing this one as a straight up retake, but they do have all that Viper utility from Mystic to at least damage a few of these players if they try and go for the plant.
They know there's one towards Snowman, or at least they suspect it. The Viper's Pit going to be used. It's available on both teams at the start of this round, but now having been popped makes it so much more difficult for these defenders to get back in. The flanker of Nats has been dealt with. Doma, oh, he doesn't know what's coming his way. There's so many players running straight towards him. As he backs off, Magnum, oh no. Oh, this guy on the conventional flanks, you know, pushing up middle. He's been solid on the attack side, but now the timing is on display as well. On his way up behind them over on A, Doma going to delay, and this could be dangerous. Oh, he misses the first. Magnum is caught after just one, but they have no idea where Doma is. It grants him a triple kill and a free round for Fnatic. Beautifully played on the A side. And now 6 rounds in a row needed from Gambit. They have to double up their scoreline without a single fault, or the map pick, their map pick, will go into the hands of their enemy.
This round alone is almost certainly that you could talk about utility, you could talk about sort of like individual brilliance, but this is all just about the positioning of the players from Fnatic. They get so much information with the pushes that come in from behind that even Gambit in the latter stages still didn't know exactly where Doma was because they were too busy dealing with Magnum. Even if he doesn't get much done, it allows his position to lay hidden for just that little bit longer. Now we're going to see the Viper's Pit put down on A. I know that's one of your personal favorites, Mitch, because you basically have you're stuck even if you go for more elevated angles, and instead they're just going to avoid it completely and actually go playing through the kitchen. Now they've given this position away, no doubt. There's a lot of information currently there, and Magnum, he's actually going to go playing through, and this time Nats is ready. He was prepared for any level of push coming back from the man who's been doing it all the way through, and now this round is looking a lot better, but they still have Durka to deal with.
Yeah, you'd love to see teams adapt like that. Durka takes down Defo. The spray from Mystic closes the game.
This best of 3, and yeah, a must win for Gambit. You know, they have to win here if they want to keep their dreams of Iceland alive. And as you predicted there, Lothar, they've pretty much locked in that team count they've played before.
I mean, no surprises here so far. Really happy to see that that Sky. She's going to be instrumental. Fnatic has exactly the same things that we have seen so far in Bind. There's no way they're gonna change anything. This is a heavy, let's say, initiating based composition that wants to take the space on site and then fall back if possible, of course, because I wouldn't be surprised if Mystic is gonna play on site, try to set up one ways or use the snake bites to just...
That man, in terms of individual skill, is off the charts, so I'm excited to see him play.
Yeah, you talk about Shadow switching over to a duelist. We've also obviously got, as the desk mentioned, as we talked about Durka before, has been playing the Sova, is again, and the value that he was able to bring here, you know, you often talk about a player switching agents from someone like a Jet. I mean, like, oh, they won't deliver, you know, quite the same way individually. And Yampy, best example of that. Man goes to a Killjoy, plays it like it's a Jet. I think Durka can do very much the same. He's got that skill set for sure, especially on a map like Bind. Starting out on the attacking side, FNATIC have already taken a little bit of damage, dealt a little bit of damage, excuse me, onto Redgar, and gotten themselves an ult orb in play. Very good early round, with the Viper Wall going up on A, and the presence already established in Bathroom. This is keeping 3 players in position, but FNATIC aren't looking to push just yet. Even with the drone that they're going up on long with, it's all about taking those ult orbs.
Yeah, they're going to be building that. But I think the orbital strike in particular is something that I really enjoy coming out from Boaster on this map, especially towards Lamps. I don't think they've cleared Redgar here, though. This is a big issue. He's managed to hide within the smoke. He bypassed the Tiger, and they will pay. 2 kills coming up here. They are eventually going to get themselves onto the site, and we know how effective those afterplants can be. Durka needs to do well to make sure he holds any further aggression, and actually, Dome is going to go down to the shock darts. This is already a problem.
Durka, post right, not cleared. Shados, he whiffs! Durka gets away with a kill in a position where he should be dead, but with Mystic tagged up from every direction, it won't matter for too much more than damage. Gambit, 1-0 they go. They come out on top in a pistol, but only barely. That very nearly slipped out of their grasp.
Yeah, well, it was purely off the play from Redgar. The fact that he manages to avoid the Tiger, like you've got Magnum on the other side going, well, there's no one here, there's no one close, and just sneaking past it's so important. And that's the thing, both of these comps are heavily focused on finding information. Like it's not too often that you do see the Sova Sky combination, but that's what it gives you. There's so many opportunities to just clear early angles. So the fact that he manages to avoid all of it and still manage to get himself a couple of kills, I don't think you'll be seeing that very often. So an important start. Again, we go back to what Neil said earlier. If Gambit can get off to a strong start, get that money rolling, get every single piece of the puzzle, they are a terrifying squad, and FNATIC have got to be careful of that.
And they most definitely do. In this round right here, though, it's hard to really be careful. You've got pistols. You're going to look to group up and use the numbers to your advantage, because the weaponry certainly ain't. But up close is Nats with a Judge, and you're doing a whole bunch of damage. When they run on through that wall, you're able to take them down with just a one shot. And with only Magnum left alive, I like the idea. Going towards Bathroom. Maybe he gets a free ult orb. He won't. But it's a good idea. He got one on long as well. So altogether, he's made the best of a bad situation, you know?
I can safely say that the player I would least like to play against ever is Nats. Like, just everything he seems to do is just forcing players, like, into such unfavorable duels that there's just very little you can do about it. Like, you're not gonna, like, for example, if you're talking about pure individual aim, I'm gonna give Shados like probably the mantle on his team. You could also give it over to Dirk or on the other side. But in terms of forcing you to take bad duels, Nats wins that every time. Like, they're having to go through the screen straight into a Judge. Like, how are you ever going to come out down top?
Smokes to come down, Wolf to go through, this time definitely clearing its corners as it goes. The smoke not there to block off vision. The nade, though, very good damage. Delays their push, which surprises me that Redgar runs out so readily to his death as it happens. Mystic busy spraying away at the Wolf as the wall drops. Shados is able to catch him off guard. And with the heal up, the shock dart shouldn't be too threatening. Magnum dealt with after just a single kill, and this is looking... Oh, that nade is so good! And that's brought back up online because of the frags going his way. I mean, this is beautiful stuff from Gambit on a round where they have such a weak buy. The gap is being bridged, and Nats soon to just completely blow up that bridge. He was to catch Turka on that flank with the Judge, but instead he gets free mid control, and they know now that all they have to worry about is Bathroom.
so low on HP. Even the range advantage is not going to help them out too much. Defo already just swinging on the corner, and Dirk at 4 HP. It didn't matter what gun came back around, he was screwed. So Gambit are actually going to convert their bonus round. So very well played from Shados, as you mentioned. Like, his utility usage so far on Raze has definitely been solid. And there's actually the quote that came out from Boaster is that if you're using their comp, he doesn't think it's possible if you don't have that Raze. We're already starting to witness some of the ability of these players. Now, this is the start, exactly what Gambit needed. That turnaround coming into the second map. Now, we do favor FNATIC here. It has to be said. Like, this is their bread and butter. This is the map that, well, almost put them on the map within Europe. They're going to come in with what is a relatively weak purchase, a bit of extra money spent to just try and make things costly and see if they can steal a round away. And they do still have a lot of utility, so if they can get an opening duel or two, it might not be too much of a problem to convert the round.
Oh, closed in the smoke. Doma, well, he meets his demise pretty quickly. Flash to delay further. Confirm there's more players here, but Magnum's able to take down a player, but not retrieve the weapon. Gambit maintain advantages, and with FNATIC having such a weak buy, pulling these kind of rounds back is tough. They should be able to get this spike planted.
Look at that.
But they want to just force the duels first, and as their numbers thin out, it looks like they're going to be ending this one in a pretty disappointing way. You know, I'm not quite sure that I've heard FNATIC say it, but I've heard a lot of teams say about Bind that they don't like the map so much versus especially CIS teams because it promotes at times a more puggy playstyle and can really allow teams that have just a lot of firepower to take over the map. And with Gambit being here, despite the fact they don't play it a whole lot, it can certainly be a factor that could mess up FNATIC's plan.
Well, I guess it's weird because they don't play it much within this tournament. Within their region, they were playing it all the way up to the semifinals, so they were definitely happy to play it. Maybe it was just this after-plant meta that they weren't really too accustomed to. Like, with this comp in particular, they've only actually played a couple of maps, so it could just be comfort and other teams almost allowing them to get that map out of the pool based on the veto that's come up so far. So I don't want to sell almost the tale that Gambit are not good at Bind. That's definitely not the case. It's just not their preferred map of the ones remaining. And going into the final, if they make it to the thirds, then it starts to be a little bit more comfortable once again. For now, though, we are going to see them slowly making their way. Just look at Nats's position. I feel like he's going to end up just stuck behind the wall, and he's going to end up catching somebody out.
There comes the drone. It's going to go right on past. Nats destroyed. Oh, no! That's not what you want. Dome is just double open. He's healing back up after the Viper util fades away. Chronicle wants to pull something back. He gets into the corner with his teammate. Himself and Shados looking for duels with these players. Well, they've disappeared. It might be against Houdini. Defo, though. Oh, he pulls a magic trick off of his own. He pulls a spike out of a hat. It's right beside him, but he's all by himself. A 1v3 to win out, and it's not there. Dome is a 4K in this round to put keep them on 4. Yeah, one thing I'll mention as well is that for Gambit, it's not that they don't play Bind in that they've been banning it. As a matter of fact, most of the games that they've played in VCT, it's been the decider match. It just hasn't been played. They haven't needed a decider match. So it's an interesting point that, you know, it's not a map that if you look at, oh, when did they last play it? It's like, oh, it was quite a while ago. But that doesn't mean they're not comfortable here.
Well, that round in particular, I feel like Doma has come along and put the team in his Dora Explorer backpack and just carried them through a double entry into the site through all of Viper's utility. But is this going to be the start of something now? Because there's still plenty of cash available for Gambit. They have purchased into this round, no problem. And they're still looking to try and get proactive in towards the bathrooms. It's been a point of contention thus far, and they've come out on top the majority of the time. The Showstopper not going to do too much, but it's in combination with Durka's Hunter's Fury. They also have the Seekers to try and clear the angle, and Shados, again, attempts a cheeky play through the smoke. But now with the information to hand, and in fact, Nats, with his head removed from his shoulders, it leaves just 2 players remaining. But they're only against 3.
Not a bad spray return from Chronicle. Doesn't take a lick of damage bar the Viper wall, and takes a kill to put them back in a reasonably doable spot. The drone going out, clears out lamps. Doesn't look like they can see him peeking in from Bath either, but the time is ticking away, and that's ultimately the problem. They need to make a move. The recon goes out. They'll spot nothing from it. Take some damage. They lined up there, but it doesn't seem to matter. Shados on his own. He won't be like that for much longer. His team about to respawn as the round goes to FNATIC 4-2, building it up on the attacking side. Gambit need to be careful they don't stall out, because we mentioned, you know, it's important that they definitely get off to a good start, but if they stop at 4, well, that's a bit of a problem.
Interestingly as well, like, we haven't seen Mystic using a lot of his utility just for those after plants. I think they've really needed it to try and deny the quick reclaiming of space from Gambit, because they really have been battling so much for control. We've seen them, again, get aggressive into the bathrooms, looking to try and fight for those positions, but also battling through the smoke that FNATIC are putting down to almost try and stop them getting into those after plants initially, something that I feel is necessary, because we know how strong players like Mystic, players like Boaster, in fact, can be once they get settled in those spots. Now, for this round, it is looking slightly more passive. The reason for this is you do currently have Shados on that operator. Not normally the man that you'd highlight for picking up the weapon, but with his current agent selection, it definitely makes a little bit more sense. Dirk are going to use the drone to try and find information, but actually a deeper smoke thrown down. Maybe to try and make things a little bit more awkward, but instead it actually looks like FNATIC are just happy to try and battle here, going straight into the 3-man stack.
Oh, on the backside, one is spotted, but Redgar, he swings out wide and dies as well. What's going on? Dome even ran out of ammo, pulled out the classic and got that duel. FNATIC forcing Gambit into, what is the save? Immediately. The operator in play for Shados not even going to find a chance to take a shot in this round. It's FNATIC overrun B. I mean, that was, when you think of, let's say, European versus CIS, Valorant, Counter-Strike, doesn't matter what, like tactical FPS, that looked more like what you would imagine a CIS team would do. Just straight barreling at them like, you want to fight? All right, let's go. Let's take those duels.
I almost think that's one of those rounds as well where Boaster is just like letting Doma off the leash. Like we've seen him have his sort of more casual relaxed map on the last, where he's stuck on the Sage, not really able to sort of free roam and get aggressive. And then on this one, it's just like, right, Doma, you do you. You take those fights, you get in the face of the opponent, and they dismantled Gambit. Like you spoke just a few rounds ago about the fact that a lot of people credit CIS teams because of some of the brawlier nature of this map, because of the ability to win off of individual skill. Well, that was 3 of the 5 players waiting, and they didn't get a single kill.
Remember, Gambit are the team that won the Masters final. They're the Masters champions of CIS. Now, they're starting to struggle versus FNATIC, and well, if they lose this map, they won't even be making it to this Masters, let alone winning it. Of course, very different scenario considering, of course, you're talking about the best in the world as opposed to best regionally. But this team is well respected within the European region, so is FNATIC. The attack side grouped up outside of Hookah, definitely feeling a bit of confidence towards that B side in the early stages. The wall again consistently put down on the A side. This just masks anything that you want to do. You know, if you're going B, they don't get that indication of where your wall goes.
Looks like they're actually going to go pushing towards the Viper's pit. Now, the problem is they have been tagged by the drone. The Molotov also going to be used. They're trying to just catch Nats through that smoke. If he goes down, so does the pit, and so does the majority of the defense. And you can still see on the other side of the map, they do have a couple of players waiting. Now, Redgar, it's been a little bit hit and miss. In the early rounds, he was able to sneak through. Now he's playing up close. If they get this opener, it leaves a lot of pressure onto Defo, who's actually playing without a rifle. But hearing that Judge rattle off a shot on the other side, I wonder if that might put a little bit of fear into the hearts of the opponents. Never mind. They just peek into it.
Oh, he's being tagged up a little bit, makes a move around the side, picks up a weapon, takes down Mystic. Doma's on his way, but Redgar deals with him as well. Oh, what is going on? Redgar walks out for 4 and only robbed of the ace by the teleport. He's not going to even follow, not going to pursue. Instead, he'll keep the spike and the round win. This is devastating now for FNATIC. They had a good chance in that round. The shock dart to tickle him up, 11 HP. Not a chance of carrying that weapon through to the next. What a play by Redgar. It starts with just a Judge, and he walks out with 4 kills.
almost think that we have to stop saying just a judge. Like, I'm starting to fear the judge more than I'm actually fearing an operator. Because it's like, if you hear a bullet shoot off, it's like, if you walk around that corner, you have to insta-kill him. Otherwise, you can just spam bullets that will kill you in one shot. Like, it is a truly ridiculous gun close range, and well, FNATIC have just felt the bite of it. 5 rounds already on the defensive side. Now, we sing the praises of FNATIC's attack. Now, sure, the manner in which they won the last few rounds were starting to make us a little bit worried for Gambit, but they are still in a pretty good position here. And being that this is the map that I think we almost gifted over to FNATIC, the one where I think most people now expect them to close it out, this isn't looking bad for the CIS squad.
No, not at all. Again, it comes down to the competence we set up at the start of the game. The Gambit, they know what they're doing on this map, and albeit their map pick previously didn't go exactly as planned, they're not a team that are going to count themselves out of it. They're able to bounce back. That's for damn sure. You know, one of the scariest things as a Viper player is always going to be that drone, and you saw it in the previous round. Oh, he's even tagged him this time through the wall and the orb, and they're going to just push on through, get some nice control, try for the sprays, not get much done there. And in fact, with shock darts and snake bites, I'm surprised none of these come into play in towards Hookah. Even despite that, well, not even despite that, they just lose all the fights. That's oh, that was awkward.
30 seconds left.
Very disappointing round for Gambit there. You know, that they get everything going their way in the early round. They know that, okay, we've given up hookah control. They have some util they can throw back in. They decide not to. And then those duels taken perfectly work out. 20 seconds left. Okay, Seeker goes out. Shados in the open. He's got another. Backs off. 13 seconds. If he didn't get hit by that, the nade was going through. Instead, uses it to cover as he goes over towards the spawn. And Shados 3Ks this. How did he get away with that?
You could tell as well, Mitch. You thought that was over.
100% a 1v3.
You did not believe.
It's a 1v3. They know he's trapped in elbow. Of course I didn't believe.
They even committed Seekers as well. Like, nobody defending the player planting the spike. And then, well, this is just style points from Shados. A quick kill to pick off one and, well, just reading the remaining player, Magnum, trying to flank him. Of course, he wouldn't be doing anything else, but what a play from Shados. Brings them around that never should have been. They even took some massive risks. Like, Redguard TPs behind them in the early stages of that round, and still sticks the landing, tries to get someone from behind. Now, this is another very aggressive push coming out from the defensive side. They have just taken this round into their own hands, fighting tooth and nail versus FNATIC. And we talk about displacing them, not allowing the afterplants. They're not allowing them out of the spawn.
Very true. You know what? Finally, we're getting to see Gambit.
Add that to the list, Lothar. Add that to the list. Don't let them out of the spawn.
Duh. They don't give them a single bit of breathing room. Oh, no. Maybe they do. Come on, man. Let me understand what's happening. 1v3s are apparently the easiest to win, or it's looking that way. That's a nice little angle we ain't seen before. Peace and serenity. That's what we needed after the last 2 rounds. But it is like, this is the Gambit that we've been waiting to see, that we've expected for so long, and now they're delivering. On Icebox, they were a little bit sleepy. They hadn't had their breakfast, their cereal yet, but now they've eaten up plenty of extra milk. It's looking good.
That was almost a disrespect play as well. Like, after the last couple of rounds coming so close, a big clutch, to just go running straight through the TP and just brawl out the bathrooms as well. Gambit are in the mood. They're looking for an upset on Bind. They're looking to take us to a third and final map. And Doma, once again, is going to try and make a play. So much utility to clear, and Nat is already going to take his head clean off. He's looking for more. The spike is on the deck, and Gambit are just thriving throughout this chaos. Durka, the last man standing versus 5 players. And what all he can hope to do is just try and duck out of here.
We said it on the previous map, and we'll say it here. Oh, the tables turn, man. It's Gambit. They get off to a good start. FNATIC start to claw it back, 4-3, and then all of a sudden, something just awakens inside of them. They're like, wait, we don't get to go to Iceland if we lose this? Oh, damn. I thought this was like seeding or something. We better just start playing the game. They're looking so good with it. They've found their confidence. Their mojo is back. With just Durka left alive, this round is certainly theirs. Yeah, I don't believe in this one, Tom, to make that clear, but hey, maybe there'll be another surprise.
Just for the record, Mitchman does not believe, so the chances of this clutch happening has gone up by at least 8%.
It's going to be like a 5-man Hunter's Fury.
I'd be impressed. The thing is, they are going to come looking for him. Like, at this stage, Gambit have got the finances that removing this weapon would be worth it. Stop the extra utility that's there for them as well,
left.
and I don't think they're going to find him. He's almost hiding in plain sight. One of the more obvious choices, but they've cleared out the whole spawn. They've gone looking together. It's only Chronicle that I think could drop him at this stage. I thought in the last second he was going to get him, and that would have been heartbreaking. You spend all that time patiently waiting. But yeah, this has been a phenomenal defensive side from Gambit. They are not allowing any of the plays. They're not allowing after plants, anything. They're just denying them before they even get into the site. And even the riskier plays that were working early on from Doma, they seem prepared for them now. It's like they've adapted from those few rounds that have come through.
And a couple of these things, you know, you can see that there's some shakier play from FNATIC. Like Doma going out there with the ult, he just doesn't quite connect it. There's a couple of little mistakes happening, and those happen regardless of the stage you're at, the game that's in it. I won't read too much into it, but it's Gambit punishing every single thing that they can. That 1v3 was the best example. They face, even attempt to face together, face one at a time, and Shadows just tears them to shreds. I'm loving this new face of Gambit. This old face of Gambit, really, but in the context of in the context of this series, I'm loving the new face that they're showing, because this was definitely absent on the previous map and even throughout a couple of rounds here. He's gonna get it.
If he gets any kills here, I think I'm gonna be frustrated. He's gonna put down another smoke. Oh, he's got away! Oh, that is such a risk from Redgar. I wasn't expecting it to work, but even still, that's gone desperately wrong. Chronicle, he still has his Hunter's Fury. And look at the flank. They've already gone pushing all the way up, just taking so much control. Nat's already picking off another one, trying to bring back the round. And now the spike's been dropped on the deck into a 2v2. This has stopped being FNATIC on the attack. Gambit are now playing this as the attacking-sided team.
Hunter's Fury pop to clear it out. They can go and retrieve that spike at least for a moment. The flash doesn't spot anybody. Gambit, they're split up. They're spread out. This is an opportunity. The wolf clears out a lot. It's going to at least be caught. The TP, as they now know that he's close, they're going to face the fight. Defo, well, he was happy to take the duel, but it doesn't look like there's going to be too much of a problem in getting this spike planted. They've made it over. Durka wants to initiate combat, and it goes his way. Now rotating all the way to A. But Defo, oh no, he hasn't gone behind. He hasn't taken the TP. Instead, he's going to be tucked in the corner, Tom. It's just such a nasty angle from Defo. They don't expect it. He waits for them and shuts FNATIC down. 9 on the board for Gambit at his desolation. As FNATIC barely get off the starting point. What a round by Defo as well. The prediction game, this man is in their head.
This was unbelievable. Like, this is the biggest of brain plays. Like, I think you even have to go past 200 IQ to just realize what he did. Reading into the fact that the spike hadn't gone down, maybe heard the footsteps at a distance, but they did walk the majority of the way. And I'll be honest, even in that moment, I thought he was going to push forward and end up walking into them. Instead, perfect read, and every single member of Gambit, like, you compare them to the last map and this one, it's night and day. Like, this isn't the same team anymore. They are disrespecting FNATIC on their own map choice. And they even said it. They said a lot of teams play against FPX and show them too much respect. Well, clearly they have the same mantra when it comes to FNATIC.
That's like the cherry on top, or the nose in the face on the wall made out of knife scratches, which is what we just saw Defo make there. It's a beautiful little painting and lesson in art. Getting 9 rounds on the board for Gambit. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Now, FNATIC are trying to bring that confidence back in themselves, get it flowing. All right. Is the mojo there for them? They're all blinded, but still get away with a kill. And now the man advantage is firmly secured, and even further. Okay. Took a little longer than I thought on that fight. Chronicle 1v4. It's a pistol round. If they lose this, let's move on to next map. This should be FNATIC's.
let's run it back. Let's play it to a third. Well, Chronicle, He's got barely any utility as well. Doesn't have an upgraded pistol. Like, it really would take a miracle for him to pull this one off with the Classic. But you know what? We've already witnessed some rounds that don't really make much sense to me. So we'll see if he can make anything work here. First kill down. Mystic is gone. So any utility they would have had is dissipated. A second kill as they're going to bring this one up to half. He's got both players. Oh, oh, the worst thing is if he has a ghost there, I think he wins that. That's ridiculous.
He could have gotten a right click double kill. He could have. You know, like that. No. Stop it. That can't be happening. It was very nearly a 1v4 clutch. Can you imagine if FNATIC lost that round? I don't care about the score on the board. Like, oh, it's 10-3. They can come back. They can get 2 buy rounds, whatever. Doesn't matter. You imagine how that previous half went. They were just getting styled on, and then Chronicle pulls out a 1v4. Even where he got it to, they realized they got lucky. They were very close to losing that one. If his teammate had a ghost and he picked it up on the way back, they lost that. They need to start really building the confidence back, and they tried it in the start of the pistol, but I think a lot of that has been defeated coming out of it. Now flash through the smoke is going to grant them a nice aggressive play. They lose a lot of HP to the spray and to the poison orb, and then they lose a player in the form of Chronicle. All 4 towards the TP. They're going to jump on through and try to take the B site, but FNATIC are still here waiting.
Yeah, Doma made the decision to stay within the site, and he's got probably the best gun for the job right now as he pulls out the judge and just looks to clean them up. So blind as well. A perfect flash place, and he will build up just one away from the showstopper as well. So, you know, it's looking a little bit better for FNATIC. Now, I'll say I think that the first half definitely didn't go to plan. Some awesome setups. I think Nat's proving that defensive Viper is pretty filthy. But now we have to see if Gambit still construct their stuff on the attack. Bear in mind, if somehow FNATIC managed to turn this around, pull off an impressive defensive side, Gambit are out, and FNATIC are going to Iceland. So everything on the line in this map.
The stakes are definitely high. A deep flash into Bath is going to give a lot of info and free map control for them. And the question is, do they want to go up there and grab their orb? Because a couple of these guys are pretty close. Like Chronicle in particular, just 2 away from picking up his ultimate. It's going to creep on forward. This bathroom control, you'll see teams fight for. You'll see, especially in EU, FNATIC and FPX. I think FPX more so even will constantly duel in towards bathroom. You'll see Angel on the defensive side wanting to swing in and take fights. FNATIC to a slightly lesser extent. But in this map, it seems like the control over ult orbs has been sought for by FNATIC in the early stages of their attack, but it has kind of fallen by the wayside since Gambit started to pull out the most aggressive style we've seen from them to date. Oh, he gets away with that. Redgar's very lucky to be alive.
This is, of course, the bonus round for FNATIC, but they're going to at least want to make this one costly. They've got everyone here. The 4 rotations come through. Nothing to really deny the spam, but they in fact get away with it without really any trouble at all. They're going to look to fall back into those deadly after plant positions. Nat still with his snake bites, but FNATIC have done well. They've turned this into a 5-on-3. The first one lands to at least stop any defusal, but Dirka's just running riot. Another kill coming up for him. Magnum picks off another, and they could have all the after plant they want, but they need to kill this man. He still has the Hunter's Fury. They know how important this is going to be. They are chasing Chronicle as they get onto the defusal, and I think he's realized at this stage there's nothing he can do to stop that defusal. There is no escape.
Yeah, I think especially when there's 2 players still towards the site with a decent amount of HP, they're just going to tank the first one, you know, let you get 1 kill, but they'll get it halfway. The other guy defuses and it's GG'd. 1v4s, you know, Hunter's Fury to deny defuse ain't really a concern. You've got to get a couple of kills, and then they denied, and that with the damage done. 9-6. FNATIC, they're not down and out of it yet. They're certainly still putting up a good old fight. But Gambit, they've got the lead. It's secured, but it's about to get a little bit tougher to hold on to. Because at the moment, it's going to be a pretty weak buy. And I say that, and I see Shade has got a judge. And I focus on the judge more so than the Vandal, because in the game that we've seen so far, it seems like the judge is getting a hell of a lot done.
Yeah, they finally nerfed the Bucky, and all it's really done is put more of a focus on the judge. I guess it's a little bit more expensive, Shados. It takes a lot of damage, but maybe it's not quite as bad as we first thought. It's the extra 50 he's lost. Well, the benefit so far of what we're seeing from Omen is those shadow steps, able to negate the majority of the utility, but it hasn't done them much good in terms of actually taking home some of these rounds. It's getting them plants, it's putting them into decent positions, but FNATIC are doing very well on their retakes.
A couple of super aggressive plays there. Redgar swinging in through the wall,
Just
excuse me.
it.
Snake bite down, it doesn't even hit. There's nothing they can do. But taking up weapons is a huge bonus for them, and they're getting a few out of this one. That's a lot of damage done considering the stage of the round that they were at, and even managing to retrieve some as well. Hey, I view that as a very, very positive round for Gambit.
Yeah, I'll say, if anything, I think the orbs that they actually managed to get are probably the more important, because I think there was a couple of players with like 7,000 or 8,000 credits. So for FNATIC, like even looking at their money now after the purchase, they're still in a pretty good spot. I don't think they're going to be like, oh no, we can't afford to buy 2 operators this round. Like it doesn't matter. As long as they keep streaking rounds together, that's they literally can. But that's what I'm saying. It's like it's not going to play the biggest part for them.
Yeah.
But earning up an extra couple of ultimate orbs, you could see that there's quite a few actually close to coming online. If they can get one of the orbs in the early rounds, we could see Defo on the Sky Ult as well. Like the Seekers is something that's so impactful with clearing a lot of the positions, especially with all of the Viper utility we've seen so far. Like that's one of the focus ults you want to be getting. And then you could still even get the Viper's Pit, or use that Hunter's Fury to try and clear out some of the early angles. On the other side, not a whole lot available. Hunter's Fury will be good, maybe to try and deny some of the players if it gets to an after plant, or stop the plant altogether, but other than that, it's not going to be the focus, I guess you could say, for FNATIC in this round. On the other side of things, the attack again, much more of a slow default. This is the Gambit way, the CIS way, if anything. Being patient, watching for any early aggression. We are going to see Guiding Light finding at least some information early on for FNATIC, and they will keep 3 players on this B site in the early stages.
Drone up. Not going to really see anything after that blind goes through. I'm going to dog out long, see what's there. But push is on its way. Oh, Doma has managed to make his way back, throwing out the nade, trying to isolate fights, but gets dealt with very quickly. Luckily, Mystic is there to save the day with that double kill. Had some support as well. You know, the focal point of that round was exactly where FNATIC were. They were so ready for that play to come on in. All the players basically on the site by the time. Like, look at the rotates. Even by the time that the first player makes it onto the hookah ledge, there are 4 players on B side.
Yeah, I think as well that this is something that you can even say is comparable to the way that Liquid were playing earlier on Haven. Like, they have so much utility, especially on that B site in the round, that you're having to go through Viper utility, you're having to go through Boaster's Molotov placed just below the window, and then his Sky Smoke used to just try and slow you down. And by that point, you've already put a lot of your eggs into the basket of the B site, so you're committed to a push that never really looked like it was going to be successful. They're actually going to pick up the pace, but it seems like a similar setup. They've still got multiple players here. Doma, in fact, is very deep at the moment, but Nats has come out with a couple of kills and made this one look possible.
I think he was even blind when he took down Magnum. That was just a pre-fire that came through. And when Nat's getting that kill, he pops his ult online. That's going to be the site covered for anybody walking out of spawn. He even avoids the drone coming through and has a great angle. Oh, you can't even pre-fire this. He knows there's players in towards the spawn.
What?
How's Durka gotten away with that? Low HP here at least, but that's disgusting. The Shock Dart takes down Shados and Chronicle 1 versus 2. He's got them both, but no! Durka flicks over for the 4K, saving the day. That's a devastating round for Gambit. I mean, if it didn't go their way in the first place, you wouldn't be that disappointed. But with Nats making such a huge play, having a great position, dodging the drone, dodging the recon arrow, he did everything right. And then just gets shut down.
Yeah, and in terms of finances, you're right. They didn't have much in the round, but they did, I think it's 3 ultimates. So it's cost them a lot, especially with the position. I don't blame them in the spot that they managed to get. I also want to add, Durka is not normally. Like, the way this man plays, I don't understand. Like, it's funny because I was like, eat your words. But at the same time, he shouldn't have got that kill. Why is he able to just flick so fast to kill the player up close? A dominating first half for Gambit, Mitch. It's now level.
Here we go. Showstopper popped out. Shadows, he's out for revenge. He doesn't like how the previous round went, but, well, he might not like how this one goes if he stays in that snake fight for too much longer. The wall's still up as Durka gets caught crossing. There's a good start for the Magnum running out, but again, stuck in the open with a flash in hand. We're down to a 2v3. FNATIC on the back foot. Even trying to destroy poison orbs with bullets. Just an instinct kicking in. That's from below, grabs another, and Boaster is left alone. He's completely boxed out of this one. They know where he is. He's down to 1 HP as his legs are going to be seen coming out. His chances are 0. 10-9. Gambit pick up the round.
Yeah, a complete pace change as well from Gambit. Just straight into the A site. They look to take deep control as well because, let's be honest, their holds have actually been pretty poor. Like, they haven't been able to keep the site. The retakes from FNATIC have been superb, so they just didn't allow them to. Like, Nats takes very deep control. In fact, I think that Magnum actually ran past one of the attackers as he was trying to get towards Lamps because he just didn't realize that they had actually pushed all the way through their own smoke. So Gambit almost just trying to displace any chance of the retake by not allowing any space at all. A good adaptation, something I think will be difficult to recreate. And you mentioned control towards the bathrooms. This is probably one of the most effective uses of this Viper's Pit, because by the time you get to the other side, you're 1 HP.
Yeah, it covers so much ground and it protects a very valuable resource in the form of that ultimate orb. Although in this round it wouldn't have an immediate effect, it's more like the domino effect, right? You give it up in this round and the next. Showstopper pop will stop them pushing up and maybe save Doma's life potentially if they rushed him down. It also buys them a lot of space. They know now Gambit steps heard running back, right? They don't know that it's going to be a full commitment to the A side, but if it is, anyone coming in through Bath is going to be in trouble. Now you see the drone on the map. It's coming through to try and spot Mystic. It will make it all the way in, but it looks like he's dodged it. It was Durka that it spots instead, hiding behind the site. And here's where Mystic has his side covered. Durka has to do a lot of work on the front lines or else they're going to be in a lot of trouble. And down Mystic goes. A player already made it out of Bath on the left side. Durka somehow surviving, and a shock dart through will not finish him off because Redgar's too quick to jump in and find it. Now the man advantage gets taken out of their hand for just a second. We're swapping back and forth and seeing death everywhere as Gambit eventually come out on top. I do like Redgar's positioning in this round. I feel like going in through lamps like that, there's so much distraction going on to mid and to Bath that he's able to open up a huge side angle and take down a lot of players.
Well, I think that's the difference that we're starting to see from Gambit. Is similarly to what we saw in the first half. When it's these crazy manic positions, it almost just seems like the CIS squad work telepathically. Like, I don't know how their communication can be as clean as it is because they're not allowing FNATIC to have a retake because they're not holding after plants. They're going, okay, we're going to get deep into the site. We're going to continuously fight you. And that's where this team seemed to be at their peak. Like, as said, in the defensive half, they were pushing through the teleporters and not allowing them to even get to the sites before they were fighting because that's where FNATIC are at their best. So I think the mid-round adaptations or the mid-map or half adaptations that are coming in from Gambit have been superb, just to almost say, you know what, FNATIC, we're not going to play the way you want us to.
When we talk about picking up those ult orbs, we'll take a look. Defo now has Seekers to play with, and 11-9. Those Seekers could be pivotal in a round like this. Hunter's Fury for Durka, and that's it. The ult economy. I mean, when you look at, yeah, Redgar's about to get his online, but I mean, yeah, it's Omen. His ultimate is glorified recon dart a lot of the time.
What do you mean, just TP spawn? That was a good strat for the first week of the game.
Yeah, exactly, until people realized what was happening. You're just isolated. The Hunter's Fury is not going to find anything to start it off, and yeah, he'll get tagged up, but he doesn't really care about the Seekers. Point is, they see 3 players towards the B side, so they're going to rotate over and look for A. Doma has his nade to delay, he has a boom bot as well, and that's going out, but he might be caught without his weapon in hand. At least it looked that way for a second. A lot of damage taken by Chronicle from the wall, but oh, the blast pack from Shados. He's in lamps, he's behind them, and as Magnum tries to make a sneaky play around the side, they're just tucked in. 3 versus 3, post-plant setup, and it's time to just run that clock down for Gambit, but they might not have that option. Redgar down on 40 HP in the open and out of the game. 2 players left alive for Gambit. They're going to play this one together, but they need to be quick now. The spike could be being defused. They don't know if it's a fake or not, and it doesn't matter because Durka takes the third to close that out. Double digits on the board for FNATIC, still hot on Gambit's heels.
And this is the difference. Like, okay, Doma goes down without getting a single kill, but what he does do, he denies them the space that they've been looking for. Like, they had to play what I would call proper afterplants. And that's why FNATIC is so good. They're so methodical at holding every single angle. The second they get on that defuse, this is where Durka just seems to have a sixth sense for where everybody's going to peek him from, because that's all he has to do, just hold the normal angles and play in the way that he normally would. So I actually think that Doma just staying alive long enough that the rest of his team can rotate somewhat wins them the round, even though it almost looked like he did nothing.
Yeah, especially
it's a weird one.
When you look at how Gambit had played it. Oh, here's the TP. Anna's... What? He committed to it and got away with that? I was about to say, as I said, glorified recon dart. The dude commits to it, even seeing a player coming for him. What was that? Okay, well, that's thrown me off. That's for damn sure. Gambit, 4v4. They're getting pushed on. Oh, they're definitely getting pushed on. Boaster's not messing around. Flash of smokes coming out, buying them a little bit more space to play off of, and here it goes. The full aggression after the Hawk, and they only get the one kill. Still man advantage in favor for FNATIC. Mystic extends it further, and Chronicle is alone. The spike not ticking away nearly fast enough, and, well, the bullet to the head is going to close this round out for sure. 11-11. All things considered, very, very clean retake from FNATIC, but I'm still caught up on what the hell Redguard was doing. I don't recall seeing something like that before.
Do you know, I've realized your predictions within game are now as bad as your predictions out of game. It's like, yeah, you know, he's obviously just not going to stick that one.
Why would he? Oh, that was
that's
crazy.
The thing, though. I feel like... Firstly, it's almost a flex, but I imagine Durka on the other side is exactly the same. Like, he's just looking at him like, you ain't gonna stick that. You definitely ain't gonna do that versus me.
Yeah.
And then, but that's why it works. Because no one would expect you to do that. It's so ridiculous. And as I said, that's the way that Gambit have almost been looking to disrupt FNATIC, is they've been looking to make plays that, in reality, a lot of the time shouldn't work, but they've been able to make them work just off of pure synergy alone. So... now, whoa, 11-11. I put out a tweet saying, will this be a close map? Most people said no. I don't blame you, especially after the last one. But thank God we finally ended up in a position where we've got a competitive map. It really could go either way for FNATIC. 2 rounds, and they're at Iceland. The tickets can be booked. They can get ready for a first LAN for some of the players maybe in total, but also as a team. For Gambit, it would be elimination.
Destroy.
Masters champions of the region. It would be a shame to see them go.
God.
That's a lot of damage.
Okay.
Well, Doma's going to be fading away from that to get some flex seal from Magnum. He's right back up on full HP at least, but armor taken away. Your Gambit. Viper's Pit online, but Shadow's just one away from grabbing himself a big old rocket to send towards them, and he's going to be using that Spectre to rush in while Doma takes down Redguard. Doma's looking for a little bit more as well, but he has to be careful. This player's absolutely everywhere, and he takes one down with a blast pack. Another goes to the orbital strike, and now with the rocket online, it's Shadows that's his next victim. Chronicle running away for dear life as the 1v4 looks unwinnable. A Bulldog in hand with full armor. Saving this might be a priority, or it might not, as he goes down to Boaster. 12-11. One round away from securing their spot in Iceland. What a comeback this has been from FNATIC. First of all, Gambit, they've got to be feeling the pressure.
Well, yeah, the scariest thing about this is that we've always raved and ranted about the attacking side from FNATIC. Well, they haven't really used any of those afterplants. That's what made this team so scary. It's been their retakes. Like, Gambit have been able to get the spike down so many times, but playing in the more conventional afterplants just doesn't seem to work for them. They need more space. They need more control. And over the last few rounds, I mentioned Gambit adapting. It seems like FNATIC have as well. They've started to become more prepared. Now, for the attackers, financially, they're in the bin. This is Spectres and a single Guardian. Chronicle needs to channel his inner scream, and they're going to go quickly into the site. The showstopper should be able to open up. He's completely blind. He's just shot the wall. Gets absolutely nothing for it. Magnum is going to pick off 2 instead.
Oh, that feels bad. Shadow Snats falling. Chronicle, the last man alive to maintain hope of Iceland. A Guardian in hand. And again, a 1v4 clutch. At least the first goes his way. The recon comes out. He's closing in his distance. Sees the barrel, tries the wall bang, but that just gives away where he is. Now Doma dropping a nade, forcing him out of position. They're toying with their food at this point. And Chronicle, he sees him from the side. The wall bang again, a little bit of damage, but not quite enough. Oh, he is on the verge of death. With every passing second, it seems to get closer. The players now grouping up and ready to push him down. You can feel the tension, and you can feel the victory, because FNATIC have done it.